Hey guys, let's get more news from Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. TJ Watt has best case scenario for knee injury, says brother JJ Watt. Pittsburgh Steelers fans received positive news this Sunday afternoon, 7, as TJ Watt's knee injury is the best case scenario, according to his own brother JJ Watt. Watt's knee injury occurred in the third quarter of the Steelers' 17-10 victory against the Baltimore Ravens, in a match valid for the final round of the current NFL season. J.J. Watt posted an update on his brother's health, noting that TJ has a grade 2 collateral ligament sprain and everything else looks flawless. The linebacker has been extremely important for his team in recent years. So much so that, this season, TJ became the player with the most sacks in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although the severity of the injury is not as serious as expected and feared by fans, everything indicates that the player should miss the wild card match to recover from the physical problem. The Steelers secured a spot in the playoffs after the Jacksonville Jaguars lost 28-20 against the Tennessee Titans. The stumble eliminated the Florida team and guaranteed the division title to the Houston Texans. It's worth remembering that the Pittsburgh team hasn't reached the Super Bowl since 2011, when they lost to the Green Bay Packers. The last achievement came in 2009, in the victory over the Arizona Cardinals. The NFL's main defensive standout, Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker TJ Watt's season could end sooner than everyone expected. Although his team is still alive in the hunt for a spot in the playoffs for the 2023-24 season, Steelers fans may have some not-so-pleasant news about the defender. In this Saturday's 17-10 victory against the Baltimore Ravens, in a duel valid for Week 18 of the NFL, the defender suffered a blow to his left knee. The thing happened at the end of the third period, when TJ and his teammate, defensive tackle Montravius Adams, collided in a defensive play. With a suspected injury to the connection, TJ Watt had to leave the field with help to walk. Despite leaving early in the duel against the Ravens, it gave TJ Watt time to record 2 sacks and take the lead in statistics once and for all, with 19 in total. Behind him is the defensive end of the Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, with 17. If Hendrickson is unable to reach the same 19 TJ, the Steelers defender will become the first player in history to lead the NFL in 3 different seasons in number of sacks. The player had already achieved the feat in 2020 and 2021. Former Steeler Kevin Dotson named NFL's second-best guard, top run blocker. Just to twist the knife one more time until he signs his major free agency contract, that is, Kevin Dotson had his best year in the NFL this season, months after being traded by the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Los Angeles Rams. But it wasn't only a good year by his standards. According to PFF, he was one of the best linemen in football, graded out as the league's second-best guard and its top-rated run blocker. With final regular season numbers tallied, Dotson finished 2023 with an 85.2 overall grade, second in the NFL of any guard who blocked on at least half his team's snaps this season. As a run blocker, he was even better, ranked first ahead of Quinn Meinerz, who was the NFL's top overall guard ahead of Dotson. Of all offensive linemen, Dotson was PFF's 5th highest player. He chopped down his penalties, a recurring issue during his time as a Steeler, committing just 2 of them this year. Stepping back, here is Dotson and #8217's year-by-year overall PFF rank from 2020 to 2023. That data highlighted our take on Dotson. Far from a terrible player, he had plenty of talent. He just needed the right scheme fit and system that allowed him to thrive. The Rams moved Dotson back to right guard and simplified the scheme, allowing him to play freer and to his talent than having paralysis of the analysis. Matthew Coller, Kirk Cousins has many factors to weigh in free agency decision. When Kirk Cousins got hurt in Green Bay, offensive lineman Brian O'Neill was so overcome with emotion that he couldn't express how he felt about losing his quarterback. On locker cleanout day on Monday, O'Neill referenced that moment and said that he has told Kirk Cousins many times since then how much he appreciates him. He wasn't the first overall pick, he's not 6'8", he doesn't run a 4.2 40-yard dash, but he maximizes 100% of everything he's got, and that story is relatable for a lot of guys, O'Neill said. And he's really, really good, the right tackle added. O'Neal made no bones about his stance. He wants Cousins back under center. While he stopped short of saying he was going to make his voice heard to management, the Pro Bowl tackle did say that if his opinion is asked that he will advocate for Cousins' return. 1,000,000,000%, that's my guy, O'Neal said. I'll tell anybody that. I would rather have nobody else under center than Kirk for us. I love that guy. It's likely that opinion is shared within most of the locker room. Over the last 2 years as the roster turned over from the previous regime, Cousins has emerged more and more as the franchise's leader. O'Neal told a story about a day at the lunch table when the Vikings were 0-3, in which the veteran quarterback talked players through all the rough stretches they had along the way and how they fought through them. It helped ease the tension of a difficult start. If the decision for the Vikings at quarterback was as simple as whether Cousins' approval rating from his coaches and teammates was high, he would already have a contract by now. The NFL, however, is an economics game. It's also a game of windows. With 32 teams constantly rising and falling, Steelers are interested in hiring Kirk Cousins. You know who understands this well? Kirk Cousins. Moments after Cousins' fellow captain campaigned for a return, the veteran quarterback talked about his approach to possible negotiations with the Vikings and the potential of becoming a free agent for the first time since 2018. In laying out his wish list for a home in 2024 and beyond, he started with whether the team can compete for a championship. I think it ultimately is about winning football games, and so that will be the most important thing, winning football games, Cousins said. With that, no one thing is in a vacuum. Usually you win football games, because there are some other factors that are really important to me that are going to have to be there to be able to win football games, so it all ties together. The factors work together, but I certainly believe we can do that here. The Vikings have won a lot of football games since Cousins arrived in Minnesota. He is 51-39-1, including playoffs, and 17-9 since Kevin O'Connell was hired prior to the 2022 season. He has been blessed with the top wide receiver walking the planet, an elite receiving tight end, 2 top-notch tackles and a young receiver in Jordan Addison who finished with the 3rd most receiving yards among rookies. That's a lot to work with going forward. However, the Vikings roster has a boatload of free agents. Hitting the market is 31.5 sacks, around 3,500 defensive snaps, 77 receptions between KJ Osborne and Brandon Powell, and the 20th ranked left guard in pass blocking who gave up 0 sacks. The team has cap space. OvertHeCap.com projects $37 million, and that doesn't begin to touch on restructures. But the struggle for the Vikings since signing Cousins in 2018 has been finding the cap space to keep everyone on the current roster and add in free agency. The largest deal that the Vikings have signed for any player since 2018 in total cash was nose tackle Michael Pierce at $27 million. That brings us to another challenge for Cousins. Would he take a hometown discount to stay with Jefferson, Addison, and O'Connell and keep his kids in the same kindergarten class? And you fan, what do you think of the Kirk Cousins situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.